What is something about yourself that is completely true but that nobody would believe? I was parked in a space and left 10 minutes before a car with a bomb parked there and blew up. Well, that's what I would have said to the cops. Both of my parents have a twin sister named Jenny. Are they by any chance triplets from Alabama? Wait, I have never met the other Jenny. What if one of the Jennys doesn't exist and they are just sis screams internally? Quick. How many fingers do you have? 14.7 boss. Peter Gabriel complimented me on my guitar playing when I was 5. Ooh, he sat on my dad's lap once. I jumped out from a moving bus to escape kidnapping. I helped a kid avoid being kidnapped by hiding him in a doghouse. His dad was a bigwig. This wasn't the first time this happened to the kid. Scary. I asked a dazed and scared-looking young woman at a fast food restaurant if she needed help and she said yes, she wanted to know where she was. She'd just been dumped in the parking lot by some guy who'd kept her against her will for the past day. Luckily my teenage daughters were with me. They helped make her feel safe going with us to the police station, offered hospital, too, but she refused. I did not doubt her, but any question of her story was erased when we got to the station, which was closed. I called 911 and before I could even explain the situation to dispatch, several police cars pulled up, surrounding my car. Turns out she had been reported missing and in danger, so the cops had been trying to triangulate where her phone was. The phone was dead, so while we were driving to the station, I let the young woman borrow my car charger. She kept trying to turn it on, but the charger was so slow her phone kept shutting off again. The cops were following the pings each time the phone turned on. Wow. It's like something out of a movie. I'm glad you were there to help her. They must have been confused as crap when the kidnapper kept going right towards the police station. Same thing happened to me in college. Girl down the hall had some people serious about kidnapping her. She was from another country that had frequent kidnappings. Her father was a government muckety-muck in that country, and they had just kidnapped her uncle. We kept moving and hiding her for a few weeks until the plot was foiled. Damn. Terrifying. Glad she had friends to help. Okay, I need to hear the rest of this story. In short, without giving away too much info, there was a war in my country and no one wanted to be part of it. So military would literally kidnap guys from streets and force them to participate in the war. That day I was on my way to work in a bus. Military stopped the bus, got everyone out, and men on appropriate age were informed that we are now an army. Then they loaded us into another bus to take us to a remote training camp. While in the way I opened narrow, top part of the window and jumped out. Not a pleasant experience. Your entire body would hurt from your ass to head. After I jumped I run into woods and disappeared. They fired few shots in my general direction but I was gone. Damn, where are you from, mate? I am sorry. Considering my government still wants to execute me for desertion, I would rather not to say. Edit, I will say this. I am very far from there now, and if you listen to news they will mention my country in the war. Be safe. I have a few in my mind right now, but I'll keep that to myself. Stay safe, bro, whenever you go. Thank you, my friend. When I, 24M, was 7, my parents were housing some young filmmakers and they had Steve Buscemi over for dinner. Really nice guy, just as everyone says. I never forget names or faces. Like ever. I realized this nearly 2 decades ago working at a telemarketing company. I never forgot a name and to this day can think of several names I encountered that stood out. Later I worked at a nightclub and one day this couple came in, we'll call them Steve and Mindy. We chatted for about a minute or two. 3 years later Mindy runs into the bar hollering that someone assaulted her boyfriend. I said, oh no. Is Steve okay? She looked at me like she's seen a ghost and I did think, oh, she's probably surprised I remember them. Later she asked how I could remember them and I just said that I never forget anyone I meet and have any substantial interaction with. I just don't forget names or faces ever. Almost 100% of the time they are permanently etched into my memory. Don't remember birthday or what day of the week it is, and after 6 years still don't have my plates memorized, but F it, if we met one time for 5 minutes 20 years ago, I still remember you. Weird but true. That's a useful skill. I can remember names and I can remember faces. But I can't match the name to face half the time. That's a useful skill. The perfect skill for a politician or a salesman. I'm so bad at remembering names and applying them to faces that it makes it hard to follow TV shows. I'm on the 5th season of Castle and I just realized that one of the main characters is named Javier. My brain just ignores names like they are irrelevant. I feel you. And then, in a twist, they discover a letter that says Mr. Peterson was the one who paid the hitman. And everyone is holy crap and I am over here like yeah Mr. Peterson of course I knew it hold up who the F is Mr. Peterson oh crap. When I was in high school, a random new kid started stalking me. Like following me home from school, I'd see him outside my house, he'd stand by my locker at school. He was weird. Told my counselor but they didn't really believe me. Told a teacher I was close with and he talked to the principal. They said they'd watch out. After about a week my boyfriend was pissed the school wasn't helping me. He confronted this kid and they almost physically fought. Finally, he got kicked out of school and about a month later, less than 3 miles from my house, he strangled a girl my age, who also went to my school, and dumped her body in a field. This hit home for me because a guy in my friend group started stalking me after he asked me out and I said I wasn't interested. He threatened to kill us both in texts he sent to me and would follow me in the halls and wait for me by my classes, but no one did anything about it except my friend on the football team. My friend walked me to my classes and activities to make sure I was safe until the end of the year. This happened in May of our senior year. He was such a great friend. Don't know what happened to the stalker kid though, and I'm happy not to know. Holy crap. My family ended up on the West Coast because Al Capone was rubbed the wrong way by my grand uncle. He was murdered while visiting my great-grandpa's farm. My great-grandfather fingerprinted Al Capone when he was arrested in Philly. All my family has pretty cool middle names and when people are like what's your full I get to my middle name which is Thunderstorm and they just don't believe me until I get someone in my family to back me up. Edit. Since a lot of you want the other middle names are Morningstar, Firefly, Honeybee, and Stillwater edit 2. I forgot to mention I actually have 2 middle names the other one is Liam edit 3. Thank you for my first awards kind strangers. I have the same problem. Lots of people tend to ask me what's my middle name, which is Hero, and they always are like you're making that up tell me the truth even my teachers did this. My friend's first name is Hiro. Imagine how he feels. He's Japanese so I guess most people should understand it's not an uncommon name in Japan, but a surprising amount of people don't know that. Is it actually Hiro? My niece's middle is Danger. In 1982 I met and had a long conversation with Joe Perry the guitarist for Aerosmith in a bar. I told him what kind of guitar I was playing at the time. He said he had one somewhere up north at a girlfriend's house but never played it. I told him he should find it. A few months later his new album came out and he was holding the guitar. In 1996 I jammed on stage with Tommy Chong. About 10 years ago, I got drunk with the drummer and guitar player from Mudvayne. The night before the show, my buddy called me and told me they were staying at the hotel where his girlfriend tended bar. I headed down there, and within 30 minutes had struck up a conversation with them. Went outside for a smoke a few times, ended up having a couple PBRs on the bus. Matt, the drummer, got pretty crazy once he was drunk. There was a truck sitting close to the bus in the parking lot across the street from the hotel. He decided he wanted to break the window and hotwire it for a joyride. I told him, dude, I drive by here every day of the week to work. This truck has been here for 6 months. The battery is dead. Don't F crap up just to F it up. I don't have a lawyer on retainer. He was like, that's good advice, man. Let's just wander around. It was a good time. The show the next night was killer too. I switched my handedness from right to left and I am now left-handed. My dad did that. Granted it was involuntary, he broke his right arm as a kid and his teacher gave him no exemptions or assistance. So he had to learn to write with his left. Now he's left-handed with a hint and ambidextrousness. When I was younger, I was river tubing with some family. Stupid me forgot to bring eye drops for my contacts, and one popped out into the water. Later, we come to a shallow end, and this little girl finds my contact. Like, what are the odds? In case you're wondering, yes, I popped it back in. Looking back, I don't know what the bigger miracle is, losing a contact in a river, and finding it again. Or not getting my eye infected when I put it back in. My husband lost his wedding ring in the ocean. It was a very rough day and the waves were relentless. He lost it when he tossed something to his son and the ring went flying off his finger. He spent the next 5 minutes in a full panic trying to find it. Right when he gave up, he spotted it on the ground about 2 feet away from him. Something like that happened to me and my husband on our honeymoon. He lost his wedding ring while snorkeling, and I said, "Don't worry, I'll find it," while actually thinking, well, that's gone forever. I actually found it underwater. Couldn't believe my luck. The part of this that I don't believe is that you put it back in. Gross. I grew up on a tiny island, unrelated to Africa. Nelson Mandela held my hand and walked me to school as his plane refueled there. Edit lots of questions on where this island was. It was Cocos Islands in the Indian Ocean back in the 90s, lots of people calling fake. I wouldn't believe a stranger on the internet either, but I do have photos of me as an oblivious little kid trotting next to him like it's no big deal. Kid me had no idea that my life had peaked at that moment. That really sounds like the most random made-up story. Sounds like a Bill Wirt song. Oddly correct. Gang members tried to rob me and I told them no. I was alone in downtown Minneapolis and 2 Bloods tried to rob me, but I laughed and said I don't have money on me because so many people see a skinny white guy and try to rob me. I was lying and I don't know why I reacted that way. One of them stared at me for like 5 seconds, then said, "Okay, you're cool," and they walked away. Minneapolis doesn't have nearly as much of a gang problem now, but definitely did then. This happened when there was a parking lot across 7th Street from First Avenue, the club where Purple Rain was partly filmed. More detail if you want it. The first one asked for money and I said I didn't have cash. The second appeared out of nowhere, like suddenly his face was right next to mine, and he said, "I don't think you heard him. He said he wants your money." People robbing you? Just say no. Robbers can't legally rob you without your consent. Wallets have a way of shutting that down. Edited to add, thanks for the award, user Kinetic Passion. That was certainly unexpected but much appreciated. Look, I know Reddit frowns on these edits, but when someone gives you a gift you say thank you. It's called being polite. Look it up. Checkmate, atheists. Reddit link. In my case, it's a preemptive defensive measure called broke as F. My aunt was a school librarian. Years ago, she attended a conference in Los Angeles for school librarians. Several of them walked away from where the conference was being held so they could get lunch. Some guy tried to rob them at knife point, but the librarian in the lead just laughed and said, "We're school librarians, we don't have any money," and kept walking. The librarians behind her didn't even know what had just happened and looked at the guy curiously as they walked by. A guy tried to rob me of my bag at the Blue Line station in Compton while I was holding my infant, and I was like, "Seriously dude, it's a effing diaper bag, please don't take my kids' diapers and bottles." He just walked away. I had an iPad and like $1,500 cash in there. I never carried anything on the train ever again. Like $1,500 cash in there. WTFY? I live in a dangerous part of Los Angeles. It's called Los Angeles, RIP Ralphie May. The same thing happened to me, only I was a kid with my, also young, brother and they were teenagers. Them, "Give us your money." Me, "We don't have any." Them, blank stare me, blank stare them, "Okay." Then they left. After multiple times going, I've never lost in Las Vegas. This is barely related, but you reminded me. The Science Museum by me has a machine that's supposed to demonstrate probability. It's basically a plinko board, a ball drops and bounces off pegs, and you're supposed to guess what slot it'll land in. I guessed right and refused to ever try it again because I'm perfect at guessing it. At a corporate casino event where you played for points. Taught my 8-year-old son blackjack. Figured the drill of adding in his head and losing at gambling would be 2 lessons at once. Little crap one. Bought my twins scratch tickets on their 18th birthday to prove the same point. They both won a nice tidy sum. My nightmares, after my father was murdered, were cured by a shaman in the Amazon jungle. Full story, please. I started having regular frightening nightmares after my father was murdered in 2005. They usually took the form of another member of my family being murdered in front of me, and were so scary that I'd wake myself up, making those awful gurgling noises you make when you're trying to scream. This went on for months. My husband and I went on vacation to Venezuela later that year to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. We were staying at a place called Cañima, and from there, made a trip into the jungle. The guide asked if we'd like to meet the local shaman. He was just a little guy in his 40s wearing a pair of football shorts who answered our questions through a translator. We were about to leave when the guide said, "Any more questions?" I said, "Can you get rid of nightmares?" And he said yes. He got me to sit on a tree stump and made up a fermented drink which I couldn't take as I don't drink alcohol. He lit some tobacco leaves, they smelled lovely. Nothing like cigarettes, and paced around me, chanting and covering me with smoke. I didn't feel any different during or after, and I didn't believe it was going to work, but I never had another of those nightmares. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.